Hello dear students, let us continue with our chapter Trade. We are on page number 71. Remember students, last time we have talked about important international trade organizations and the role they play in the global trading. So see this page, page number 71, a very important topic, very important page. You can see different international trade organizations, the symbols of them, the headquarters of the country, and the aims and the functions of those trade organizations. Let us begin. The first organization, World Trade Organization, WTO. Can you see the symbol of WTO? World Trade Organization. Headquarter of it is in Geneva, Switzerland. There are 164 countries, member countries of World Trade Organization. I repeat students, World Trade Organization, this was established on 1st January 1995 and there are 164 member countries, and this 164 member countries represents 98% of the world trade. Its headquarter is in Geneva, Switzerland. See its aims and functions. First one, to provide platform for negotiation in international trade. It provides for platform for negotiation. If the member countries want to trade, World Trade Organization brings them together. The terms and the conditions are talked about. Important deals are done here. So, World Trade Organization provides a platform for negotiation between the different trading countries, particularly its member countries. Next, to handle the difference related to trade. If there are any differences, if there are any hurdles or hindrance in the trade relation between the two countries, it is handled by World Trade Organization. It is solved by World Trade Organization. It removes those obstacles, if any, in the trade relation between those two countries. Next one, monitor the trade policies of member states. It monitors the trade policies of member states. It sees to it that the member countries are following the regulations laid down by the organization and they are not mishandling or overruling those regulations. Next one, providing technological assistance and training to developing country. World Trade Organization sees to it that if there is any developing country requiring any technological help, technological assistance, it provides the same. Other developed countries who are the members of World Trade Organization will help that developing country, will provide technological knowledge to that developing country. Not only that, they will provide the training in the same. Let us go to the next one, European Union. European Union, you can see the symbol of European Union. Students, 28 countries are written. It is written that there were 28 member countries. But mind you, in the year 2020, that is this year itself, UK, which was a member nation of European Union, left this trade organization. So at present, there are only 27 member nations of it. But when this book was printed, there were 28 original members. So 28 is written, but at present there are only 27 countries there. Which are these countries? These are the European countries. Let me name some of them. Germany, France, Italy, Sweden, Poland, Spain, Greece, Netherlands, Belgium, Slovakia, Croatia, etc. Okay, and Belgium, the capital of Belgium, Brussels, is the headquarter of European Union. Can you see European Union, the symbol, the logo of the same, 27, 28 member nation, and headquarter is Brussels, Belgium's capital. What are its aims? Established an integrated market among the member nations of Europe. So all these 27 nations, they will be having an integrated market of Europe Market of Germany will be open for products of France. Market of Spain will be open for product of Greece, and so on. So they are having an integrated market. There is a free flow of goods in this European member countries, European Union's member countries. So free flow of goods, services and capital. Not only the goods are flowing freely in the European market, but also the services and the capital, the amount, the money, okay, is also, there is a free flow of the same. So they are having integrated market. There is a free flow of goods, services and capital in the European Union nation. Custom duties have been cancelled on exchange of goods within the member countries. See, custom duty is the amount, is the tax that you are paying when the goods cross one country's border and goes into the another country. For example, if you are buying a product, if you are buying a good from USA at rupees 100 and the custom duty is 15 rupees, 15, the amount, the cost of that good becomes 115, and the customer buying it in our country will be buying it for 115 rupees. But if there is no custom duties levied on the good, you will be getting that product, you will be getting that good at rupees 100 only. So what did this European Union member countries decided? Okay, there should be no custom duties that will be levied, and the goods will be exchanged within the member countries at the original price, at the price which is there in the mother nation. For example, the good produced in Poland, if it is costing rupees 100, it will be available at rupees 100 in Netherlands, in Sweden, in Belgium, in Croatia and other European nation countries, European Union countries. Clear? So there is no custom duties for goods to be exchanged within the European Union. Common euro currency established. That means all these 27 countries will be having the same currency. Remember, I have told you there will be currency is an important factor affecting the international trade. So all these 27 countries will be having only one currency. The same currency will be prevalent in all the countries, and that is euro. So euro is a common currency in all these 27 countries. So as the currency is same, as the currency here is same, there will be no problem in exchange of goods, no issue regarding the exchange value of the currency, right? Suppose I am buying something in dollar and I am giving rupees in exchange. So how many dollar makes how many rupees? Okay, so such exchange difference will not be arising here. Let us go to the next. International Trade Organization, OPEC. Can you see? OPEC. The symbol includes, the symbol has the short form of that OPEC, of the name of that organization, OPEC. What does OPEC stands for? Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Organization O, petroleum, P is here, exporting, E is here, and country C is here. So OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. How many countries are the members of this organization? Can you see? 13 countries are the member of this organization. Member countries. Now which are these member countries? Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Iraq, Libya, UAE, Venezuela, etc. To name some OPEC countries: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, UAE, Venezuela, and so on. The headquarters is in Vienna, which is the capital of Austria. Now what are its aims and functions? Controlling the international trade of crude oil. It not only controls the international trade, but it controls the rate also. So controlling the trade as well as the rate of crude oil among the oil producing nations. So all these countries that I have just mentioned, these 13 countries are the major oil producing countries of the world, crude oil exporting countries of the world. And this OPEC countries, this OPEC nation, they collectively supply 41.9% of world crude oil production. This is just an additional information. OPEC member countries collectively supply 41.9% of the world's crude oil production. So we were talking about their aims: controlling the trade and controlling the rate of crude oil production and maintaining consensus in oil export. These are some of the aims and the functions. Maintaining consensus. They will be deciding how much amount of petroleum and petroleum products will be exported by a country to other country. We move ahead. Next organization, SAARC, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, SAARC, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. As you can see, there are 8 member countries here. India is a member of SAARC. In fact, India is a leading country or the founder country of SAARC. I repeat again, full form of SAARC is South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. There are 8 countries. Who are these 8 countries? The countries belonging to the Indian subcontinent. We have Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka as its member countries. Let us count these countries again. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So 8 countries. SAARC was established in the year 1985. Kathmandu, which is the capital of Nepal, is the headquarter of SAARC. What are its main aims? Finding satisfactory solution to the common problems faced by the countries in South Asia. Since all these countries are all these countries are the neighboring countries, and almost all these countries are developing countries, they will be facing same sort of problem. So the regional problem, the similar problem faced by these countries, if they try to solve it together, maybe they can come up with a better solution. So they are trying to find a satisfactory solution, okay, to the problems which are commonly faced by them. Maybe sharing of the water of the river, or building a highway between the 2 neighboring countries, and so on. Increasing social welfare, raising the living standard and increasing regional cooperation among the member nations. So if these 8 neighboring countries, if they trade among themselves on a larger scale, it will be leading to an increasing trade relation, better standard of living, more interaction. It will lead to social welfare of these countries. So SAARC is trying to find a middle way to find a better solution to the problems. Not only that, it is trying to remove the unrest in the South Asian countries. So it is trying to remove the unrest in South Asia. So after SAARC, we go for the next international organization, ASEAN, ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Countries, Southeast Asian Nation. ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nation. There are 10 member countries. Let us see who are they. Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Myanmar, Vietnam and others. Okay, so this Southeast Asian countries, 10 Asian countries have formed this organization called as ASEAN. Indonesia's capital Jakarta is the headquarter, and the main aims and functions are expanding social and cultural harmony along with economic growth in Southeast Asia, promoting regional peace, promoting tax waivers for trade growth in member countries. So again, here they will try to promote tax waivers, just as we have seen in European Union. There was no custom duties when the goods are being exchanged within the European nation member countries. There was no custom duties. Similarly, they are trying to promote tax waivers. Means if you are trading within this 10 member countries, they are trying to see that there will be not any tax levied. Okay, let us go for the next organization, APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC. We have OPEC also and we have APEC also. There are 21 countries. Let me name some of these countries. Asia Pacific. So these countries will be belonging to Asia as well as along the Pacific Ocean also. Australia, Canada, Chile, Hong Kong, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, USA, Russia, Korea. These are some of the countries that belong to Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, that is APEC countries. There are 21 member countries of APEC. Singapore, country's name is also Singapore, name of the city is also Singapore, or Singapore country's capital is also Singapore city. Let us see important aims and functions. After seeing the headquarter, let us go for aims and function. Free trade and economic cooperation in Asia Pacific Ocean region. Free trade means trade without paying any tax, transporting, exchanging of goods without any tax. So there is a free trade and economic cooperation in all these 21 APEC countries. Promoting regional and technical cooperation among the member nations. Last organization, BRICS. You can see BRICS. In fact, BRICS, this name comes from the member countries. How many member countries are there? 5. Originally there were only 4 member countries. BRIC, it was called as BRIC. Now B stands for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, and C for China. Later on, South Africa, after 4-5 years, South Africa joined this BRICS and BRICS was established. BRICS was established in June 2006. Earlier there were 4 member countries, now there are 5 member countries. Shanghai, capital of China, Shanghai, a city of China, is the headquarter of it. Now what are the aims and functions? Make fund available for the growth of economies of members. Make fund available. So if fund is required in any country, other member countries will be making the fund available for the economic growth of that other member country. Enhancing mutual economic cooperation, strengthening economic security. These are some of the aims and functions of BRICS. Okay students, we'll continue the chapter. Page number 72. Make friends with map. You can see the world political outline map of the world. Find out the names of the member states of the following organization with the help of internet. Show these member nations on the outline map given in figure 9.4 using different colors for different organizations. Here they have asked you to shade these different member countries, OPEC countries and SAARC countries with different colors. Let us try to do them. We'll try to see the OPEC countries. This is Iran here. That entire country is Iran. This is Iraq. This is Saudi Arabia. Kuwait, UAE are very small nations. We cannot show them here. So Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. This is Libya. This is Algeria, Nigeria, Angola, and here we have Venezuela. These are some of the OPEC countries. Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. I'm not able to show you where is UAE and Kuwait. Here this small country this side here somewhere is UAE, United Arab Emirates. Then we have seen where is Libya, Algeria, Nigeria, Angola, and this is Venezuela. So these are your OPEC countries. Let us see the SAARC countries now. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So these are all our neighboring countries. So let us see them. India, of course. Here is Pakistan. Above that is Afghanistan. Here this small country surrounded on three sides by India is Nepal. Here is Bhutan, is very small, I cannot show you. Here is Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and this is Maldives Island here. So these are your SAARC countries. India, Pakistan, Afghanistan above that, Nepal, Bhutan cannot be shown because it is very small here, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and you have Maldives. So after having marked the OPEC and the SAARC countries with different colors on the map of the world, let us move ahead. Students, mind you, can you tell part is omitted? But before that, think about it. What will happen if there is only one currency used in the whole world? Remember students, on the previous page number 71, we have talked about international organization known as European Union, where we had euro being used by all the 27 countries. So same currency, when it is used in all the countries, the exchange rate, exchange value calculation becomes very easy. So if there is only a single currency throughout the world, carrying of international trade will become very easy. In this standard, you should know only up to this much. So can you tell this part is omitted? All this part, this whole part is omitted. So this is not there in the chapter. We'll continue. We come to the geographical explanation. An appropriate presentation of any commodity is indispensable. Now what does indispensable means? Indispensable means very important. It is an integral part. When something is presented to you which is having a very nice packing, it looks very presentable, it looks very pretty. The same thing when you are given without a good packing, without a good presentation, although it is of good quality, it might not be pleasing to your eyes. Am I right? When you receive a gift very nicely packed in box, in packing material, nicely presented, it makes you more happy. Am I right? Than a gift which is not wrapped. So an appropriate presentation of a commodity is indispensable. So if somebody gives you 1 kg of rice in your hand, will it be handy for you to carry the same home? No, right students? But if the same is given to you in a nice packing, which is transparent, at the same time which is easy to carry, you will be more pleased, right? So the price of the commodity is determined by its quality. A good quality product will fetch more price, but if the quality is not good, it might not be sold also. So good quality, more will be the price fetched. So the price of the commodity is determined not only by the quality, also by its grade and how it is presented before the customer. So its presentation, its grading and its quality, all of it is important in determining the price of the commodity. Dondima's commodity lacked this. So the part which is omitted, there is a mention of a farmer whose name is Dondiba. Although he had a quality product, but it were not sold. They were not graded, they were not presented properly, so they were not sold. He was not earning any profit. Dondiba's son recognized it and adopted necessary changes on time. So Dondiba's son realized, although my father is working very hard, his product, his commodity is not being sold. And he did something, he packed it properly, he talked to the nearby store and he made the things available. He made the things sold in that market. So Dondiba's things started being sold. There was market now for his thing. People started demanding Dondiba's product. Thus, when we take necessary similar measures for industrial and agriculture product, then the value of the commodity increases from the customer's view. So, when any industrial product or when any agriculture product is of good quality, is properly graded, and if it is presented in a very nice manner, the consumer will like it and they will be ready to buy your product.